actually.
I know it is. Yeah. Hey, I read you those stats from about Julio Rodriguez, fifth center fielder to reach a 5-WAR season at 21 or younger. Tris Speaker, Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey, Mike Trout are the other four. He's definitely the rookie of the year, right? I don't have to worry about Rutschman.
I think we need to see what the last month of the season looks like. I wouldn't say he is definitely rookie of the year. I think he's definitely going to be among the top two. But Adley Rutschman's really good, man. Yeah. He's really, really good. And I think, a lot of voters are going by wins above replacement. And Adley Rutschman right now, in terms of Fangraphs, has 4.1 wins above replacement. And Julio Rodriguez at Fangraphs has 4.1 wins above replacement. Now, Baseball Reference looks at him, looks at it a little more separated. That just the weirdness of WAR. Everybody tries to figure out somebody's value and assign it their own particular way. But the company that both of them in are pretty spectacular. And I think if at this rate, if Adley Rutschman had spent a full season in the big leagues, slugging almost at the level Julio is, much higher on base percentage, plays a premium position too. Adley might be the favorite, but I think the extra 30 games that Julio has played are going to behoove him very much.
That was a missed opportunity to say the fog of war. I was sort of surprised. I thought you would go there.
I would never do that.
Okay, sorry, that's too much. That goes too far for you. On the other Baltimore versus Seattle battle, we've got Brandon Hyde or Scott Servais. I heard Ken Rosenthal make his case for the AL East. Brandon Hyde earlier, and then I heard John Morosi back him up. Where do you stand right now, Brandon Hyde of the Orioles or Scott Servais for Manager of the Year?
Well, let me tell you, Mike Salk. For the longest time, I have been someone who has said, why are we voting for Manager of the Year when all we end up voting for as the Baseball Writers Association is the guy who led the team that did better than everyone thought they were going to by the largest margin. Like, that's generally how you get to Manager of the Year. I'm doing something different this year, and I have stopped voting and will stop voting in the future for the MVP award because I feel like the way contracts are being written these days, with Byron Buxton and Julio Rodriguez in particular, where MVP votes are tied to enormous sums of money, that the writers have been put in a compromised position. And that is not something in which I want to participate. Mm-hmm. So I asked off of MVP this year, and I asked on to Manager of the Year because I would like to challenge myself to try and figure out beyond what we see in the standings, who actually managed his clubhouse, managed games, managed everying under the purview of that job the best.
So you're going with Tony La Russa
right now. He managed to sleep in the dugout. I think I have, maybe this is just me getting older and being more interested in people and the way that they interact, but I've grown much more interested in how good managers, not just baseball managers, but good managers of people across all walks of life do it. What are the common qualities? What do they do to motivate? And, when do they pat on the back? When do they kick on the butt? How do they get people to optimize themselves? And when I answer that question, when I cast that vote after the final day of the season and before the first playoff game is played, to me, that will be what I'm looking for in Manager of the Year.
Well,
who has gotten the absolute best out of his team.
Well, allow me to at least give a pitch for Scott, who I thought should have won the award last year, and I believe should be right there and win the award this year. And there's a few different things you can point to. Obviously, this is now a long-standing thing about his teams and one-run games, right? I mean, that is not something we can ignore. So why is it? Well, some of the, there's got to be some luck involved, but some of it has to be not just the bullpen he has, but the way he's managed it. And for years, we heard over and over again, oh, you have to have a closer because otherwise guys will never accept their roles and they'll never be able to function unless there's a set guy for the ninth and a guy for the eighth and a guy for the seventh and all of that. And Scott has managed to convince a group of relievers that is complete malarkey and that they have a role and that they will be communicated with each game and understand what they're doing that day, but that there isn't a closer. There are leverage guys, and I think that's an enormous part of the reason they've been so successful.